This is, I think, a spotlight of the way our country can go, which is go back to basics, go back to what's made our country the country it is having these conversations, and also understanding that we are truly in an era in which evil is after us. And you take someone like Charlie, who he doesn't have enemies. Anybody knows him, he doesn't have enemies. He didn't have enemies because he's that kind of person that is confident enough about himself. He can listen and talk to anyone and still walk away and say, let's just respectfully agree to disagree. That is the way America works, and that's what's happening. That should be on our college campuses. UVU is one of those campuses that teaches that and helps young people to understand that. So we're going to get back to that, and I think this is again a flashpoint to understand. We have to dig in, guys. Education, we have to focus on and get it done right, because we've been on the wrong side of this for way too long. And the result of that is the kind of evil we just saw a couple days ago, when it's a very vulnerable, very open, very just a person just talking is murdered in front of thousands of people. This is not the way America should be, and we all understand that. So we're going to go in a different direction for sure.
I want to talk about the spiritual aspect of this for a moment, because you talked about evil, and of course we know there's a spiritual warfare going on, but we always say spiritual warfare, and we don't really maybe explain it as well as we should. And for those that are not believers, they don't understand that realm. But there is a spiritual realm. And I'm getting to my question, which is simply this. I'm curious about where you think this emotion comes from, of what we've seen with tens of millions of Americans this week. Why is this hit a nerve? And yes, for us here at RAV, we knew him. That's a nerve, right? Was 31. That's a nerve. He was being a voice for so many tens of millions of people. That's a nerve. But spiritually, this feels to me, Congressman, different. In other words, there's something you can't quite place your finger on. And I wonder if it has to do with this realm of evil versus good. And when evil won for that split second, by the way, evil did not win. But for that split second this week, it brought people into something they couldn't verbalize, but they were feeling, and it was raw, and it was emotional. And I'm curious to get your take on that.
Well, what we're realizing, and this has been a conversation since President Trump came in, and we're beginning to see changes across the country, but we've been in spiritual warfare for quite a while. It's called Marxism. It's an ideology that hates everything we stand for. It hates God. It hates family. It hates business ownership. It hates property. All those things that has made our country the remarkable country it is. And what Charlie was able to do was to articulate in a very calm and intelligent way, and just to be engaged. And all these young people who never heard these truths before begin to resonate. They begin to be drawn to it. That is the greatest threat to evil. This country's been based on this concept of God, of becoming a more perfect union, of looking at each other inside out, not outside in. That is who we are. And we always drift in that direction. And we lost our pathway, not understanding that we are under attack. These Marxists have been at us for a long time. They go to our most vulnerable in these universities where we don't have protection. We have professors that come through and push these people out, hating our nation. We're back now. And President Trump was really the linchpin in terms of our country saying, okay, enough of this. We the people in a position to dream and grow and have a legacy of our kids. That is what happened in November. Charlie happened to be one of those factors that really made it happen by getting young people engaged. People that in the past have been told they don't need to be involved with politics. Just go out there and have fun and do whatever you want to do and don't think there's a God. Well, Charlie's message was quite different. And now we have young people that are patriotic. They're loving our country. Young men that understand what it is to respect others, to respect women, to respect authority. All those things that make our country what it is, we're finally coming back. And we're going to look back and realize that he was, again, the major impactor in terms of this process. And his life is going to be, again, something that we will be talking about for a long, long time. Let me just say this one thing. I grew up during the time of Rush Limbaugh. When I made my transition to become a Republican, because I listened to Rush Limbaugh every single day. And I would set my schedule up so I could hear him. That has now turned into me being a solid conservative, with my family being that kind of conservative family, and me representing a very conservative state. Well, that's what Charlie's impact is going to be, multiple. because he spent so much time with so many thousands of young people that listened and had engagement with him. And just imagine as they grow up now, they go out and get married like he asked them to go out and have a family, grow their businesses, get into the middle class, and more importantly, have the faith, have the spiritual connection to want to give back. Make that part of your life. That's who Charlie was. And he didn't do it just for individuals. He did it in person with kids across this country. And those kids are going to grow up and understand what he stood for and want to emulate that. And that's what's going to turn our country in a way that that we're going to be very proud as the next generation is going to come through and see the impact that he's had because of his life.
I think you're right. I think you're right, Congressman. We've talked about the spiritual impact of Charlie Kirk's life. We've talked about the media impact that this assassination will have. We've talked about the political. I want to ask you about the practical, because at some point we're going to have to talk about this. I know, as somebody that goes and does speeches for, Christian women's organizations, my books, whatever it is, like all of us sitting here do, Congressman, you're no stranger to going and addressing crowds. I know people are canceling a lot of events right now, which is exactly what you don't want, because this is terrorism, right? This is exactly what the left wants. But I do know that there are some friends of mine who have canceled their book tours right now, for example. What are you going to do? What is the word among other Congress people? How are we going to handle this going forward? Because we can't all afford to have glass boxes around us and counter shooters, right? Counter sharpshooters up on roofs. What does this mean for rallies, for just Congress people to go speak to their districts?
Well, for those who have that faith, who have understanding of why we're here, it's not an accident we're all here, guys, together at this particular time. It's for a purpose. I'm sorry. And I think now is our time to lean in. This is the time that we're here for a purpose. It's not an accident, again, as I mentioned before. The Heavenly Father has put us here at this time. And these are things we have to go through. When it comes down to, do we have courage or do we have fear? If you have the faith that this is a country that's built on principles, there's a God that loves us, that takes care of us, and guides our direction, and makes it's a perfect plan for all of us. So the question is, do we have that faith like Charlie did? Now, of course, understand that his faith led him to that particular point of courage, and he's paid the price for it. But it's also been an example for many of us that price is worth it if you're making the difference in our country. We're fighting for the heart and soul of our nation right now. These are very, very special times. We've seen a president who stood up and after being attacked said, fight, fight, fight. Well, that's what Americans do. It's within our DNA. We are not those who cower. We're the ones that see, first of all, we dream big, and then we kind of get into the freedom bubble. Sometimes we don't realize we're under attack. But once we do, we don't cower. We fight. We run toward the issues that we need to. So I think we're going to find even a stronger a will within Congress. You're going to start seeing things that now that we're coming together and realize that this is important. Charlie's kind of been a linchpin in many, many different ways for many of us. So I feel more hopeful that we are going to get things done quicker now because American people realize, and by the way, let me say this, there's always going to be a fringe. There's always going to be a hateful group of godless people that want to destroy everything. But most of America's not that way. We have very good people on both sides. And when I say both, Democratic people are really good folks. They just have been listening to the hard left and believing them. This is a point at which they realize they're going to sit back and say, wait a minute, how can this happen? I don't agree with Charlie, but how can a man, 31 years old, sitting talk with kids, how can this happen? And they're going to ask those same questions that we are saying, this has gone too far. Enough is enough. We need to stop this. And this is going to be those moments that I think we begin to have these conversations as a people that we've needed to have for so long. So just know, moving forward, I feel more hopeful for our nation, more excited about the conversations we're going to have, the more education we're going to start having on our college campuses now, because we're done. We're done with cancellation. We're done with intimidation. We're done with all that stuff that the hard left has been putting on us for decades. So this is a point in which we're going to look back and realize, because of Charlie's life, because of his message, because of his way, we're going to go in a different direction, and it's going to change our country for the good.
Congressman, I'd be remiss if we didn't ask you real quick. You were emotional there in your answer at the beginning. Where did that emotion come from? What's going on? Tell us.
I think a lot of it is, first of all, the moment we have now and see such a good person, something like this happening, but also recognize that the blessing that we have to be part of this solution at this time. I think Americans, anybody's watching this, just know it's not an accident you're sitting here, you're hearing these conversations, that we have these emotions that we're feeling now, because we're going to bring our country back. So know that this is a special window. And it began when we brought President Trump in, and he put his team around him. And all of us now who've been prepared through all these years to do what we're doing right now. It's not an accident. We're here to save our nation. So just lean into that, know that, and then do your very best to bring your talents out. Don't let fear drive us. That's what the left wants. That's what the hard left wants. Godless. Let's take out our faith and lean in hard and realize Heavenly Father is going to be there with us and help us, allow us to take our talents to make sure those who come behind us dream bigger than we've ever thought can happen, and our country comes back the way it should be.
Congressman, if I can just very quickly, David, if you don't mind, because I think it's important to bring up as well. After Charlie's shooting the other day, there was a moment of silence. Speaker Johnson tried to have a moment of silence there in the House chamber. Some of your Democrat colleagues booed and yelled and showed in, I think, most reasonable people's minds a lack of decorum. Speak to that. Can you speak to the climate in this country that's being perpetuated even on the left, this climate of division, this climate that seems to lack compassion, even for something basic as the murder of a man?
You just used the right word, compassion. I say empathy. Let me tell you about our country that I believe so strongly in. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle we're sitting on. We have a country that believes in empathy. We have that heart. That's why we serve the way we do. That's why we have charities that we lean in on. But at the same time, you're also seeing the heartlessness of a ideology that does not believe in a God, that hates, that celebrates death and celebrates hopelessness. I mean, understand, we've seen this for a long, long time. Go to any city where people are hopeless, that are ignorant, and can't read and write, can't get a job, and you have people celebrating that by continue to push that on. We're at a point now where good people are seeing this and realize there's something wrong when that kind of stuff can happen in Congress. When something wrong, people go online and celebrate a young man, 31 years old, leaving 2 kids behind and a wife. That's not who we are. So the empathy of our nation is what's going to kind of shine at this point. We're going to start having conversations now that we have not in the past, because it's going to be a softening of for those who have in the past who kind of lean in that direction, realizing that's not who we are, that's not who I am. And I'll say this too, even on the right, we're angry, we're upset. We're tired of seeing this type of anger and hatred. But at the same time, we do still have the ability to reach out and have these conversations. We're going to get to the point again where we're talking more than ever before. And the way we have to make the changes on these college campuses, the left understood decades ago, if you want to change a culture, go after the most vulnerable. Go at your K through 12, college, and we're going to change that. We're going to give our kids more hope, more education of our history and who we are. Our Christian foundation allows us to have the freedoms we have for all religions. This is where we're going to go now, and there's going to be a demand for it because of what's happened to Charlie and people realizing what a good man he was. He didn't deserve this. This is not who our country is. Because of that, it's going to be a linchpin for us, for sure.
No doubt about that. Congressman Owens, thanks for spending the extended time with us this morning. We appreciate you so much and everything you've said.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. All the best.
God bless you.
You bet. We're standing by for a press conference, an FBI press conference, detailing that a suspect has been caught in the Charlie Kirk assassination. More coverage, breaking news coverage after the break.
Hey there. Hey. Hey there, how are you? I'm with Disabled American Veterans. I was wondering if you had a quick minute to thank America's veterans for their service and sacrifices.
Of course, why not?
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Sure.
All right. Hey, well, come on in here. I'm just going to hit record on this.
I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
I can't even think of the words to say of how grateful I am.
I just want to tell you guys how much you appreciate it.
But most importantly, I want to thank you for your courage.
Premium gas. Get more performance with every drive. Compared to lower octane fuels and gasoline direct injection engine fuel injectors, actual effects and benefits may vary according to vehicle type, driving conditions, and driving style.
ISOPure Protein helps you focus on more of what matters, like feeling your best every day. With great tasting nutrition that's high protein and low carb, it's never been simpler. Get 25 grams of ultra-filtered protein and 0 carbs in every scoop of ISOPure vanilla or unflavored. Get 20 grams of refreshing fruit-flavored protein with ISOPure Tropical Punch Clear. Or get 15 grams of lightly flavored protein with new ISOPure Protein Water, available at Costco. ISOPure, more of what matters. Tap now to shop.
Protect your dairy herds from bird flu. USDA can help. Learn more at www.aphis.usda.gov/secureourherds. That's www.aphis.usda.gov/secureourherds.
For 70 years, we've been known as the Humane Society of the United States. But as the challenges animals face have grown, so have we. We are now called Humane World for Animals. And if you love animals, you're part of our world. Humane World for Animals. The end of animal cruelty.
It's Morgan Wood from the Black Information Network. Many in this world are pushing lies, fostering hate, and dividing our children. Others in this world refuse to let that stand. Meet 4 of the others: Pastor Dumasani Washington, Dr. Brandy Shuvatinsky, artist Tomir Peretz, and Black Israeli Arab student activist Tamer Massoudin. 4 voices of truth, loudly crushing propaganda. Join them and me because truth matters.
Whenever I need to send roses that are guaranteed to make someone's day, the only place I trust is 1-800-Flowers.com. With 1-800-Flowers, my friends and family always receive stunning, high-quality bouquets that they absolutely love. Right now, when you buy a dozen multicolored roses, 1-800-Flowers will double your bouquet to 2 dozen roses. To claim this special double roses offer, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/iHeart. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/iHeart.
Sundays are for touchdowns.
Let's go, let's go!
And Fox Sports Radio has you covered with End Zone Radio, taking you around the NFL.
Woo! Touchdown!
Steve Hartman and VJ Husky kick off coverage at 1 p.m. Eastern.
We have our first score of the game.
Then Dan Byer and former NFL All-Pro safety Kerry Rhodes take over at 5 Eastern.
The Rams are in the end zone. Travis Allen has got a touchdown pass.
Open the free iHeart app and search Fox Sports Radio to start listening.
KFYR 816, Todd Mitchell, Clay Peterson, Guns in the 701. Can't think of a thing to talk about this week, huh?
Yeah, it might be a little hard, right?
They were just saying that they may try to make it a hate crime charge, and it could be death by firing squad. Are you going to go down and apply for the job, or?
Boy, I tell you what, that'd be different, wouldn't it? We talked about this Wednesday. If those tuning in don't know, you must be living under a rock. But I talked about Charlie Kirk's assassination, and I guess I got a different take as a Christian. I know this probably makes some people mad. I do pray for Charlie Kirk and his family. There's no doubt about that. This was a horrendous thing. It's not the first time we've seen political assassination. And that's exactly what this was. But I also believe in forgiveness. And I have no doubt that Charlie Kirk, the way he lived his life, I'm sure that he was welcomed with open arms and told, and I've seen this all over social media, and welcome home, essentially. Job well done, loyal and faithful servant. Well, unfortunately, this guy here, he deserves our justice. There's no doubt about it. But I hope this guy can find redemption. I don't know nothing about the suspects. I'm not going to make speculation, but hopefully he can find forgiveness as well. We got to stop this. Plain and simple. This is tragic, and it needs to end. one way or another.
You're
But
walking
this man,
into the gun control trap. You realize that, right?
I know I am, and that's fine. They can say all they want about that. It's still not a gun problem. It's a person problem.
Right. Totally agree.
And,
totally agree.
I have a very, I don't know, I'm very conflicted, and I want to see justice. There's no doubt about it.
Well,
But-
God is going to ultimately sort it all out, and yeah, that's one of the things I've been telling people with respect to Charlie Kirk is that, hey, God called him home. This is not entirely a bad thing. It was very ugly how it happened, especially if you saw the video. You know how just ugly it was.
Yeah,
I mean, you had to know
saw the video.
the second it happened that it's like there's no chance of walking away from this one.
No, and any of us that hunt and shoot regularly, when I saw, several of these videos, which I don't really recommend anybody watching them, honestly, but I knew it was done when I saw it. I've seen that reaction from many big game animals, and that I have taken. Difference is, it's hunting and it's an animal. It's a complete different thing, and this was just an out and out murder. I have a good friend that lives in Utah. He's been kind of feeding me information from the local stuff down there. And it's interesting, some of the reports. Now, whether they're true or not, that's why I hate even talking about some of that. But it kind of sounded like it was a tip from somebody very close to this guy, possibly even a pastor. So I don't know. Friend, father, I don't know. I have no clue. That's why that's speculative, and I'm not going to say that it's factual. But it'd be interesting if that's the truth. And it's kind of sounded like, and I'm even hearing that in some reports from other news sources here, that the guy actually had some things that were written that were not great, at the site, whatever that means. I don't know what it is. They're actually talking about it over on Real America's Voice in their newscast. So I don't know. It's just, I want everybody to remember, and I'm still a constitutionalist, that you are innocent until proven guilty. He is a suspect. He's in custody. If they prove that the prints and the information they found at the site are true, and it is this guy, then he deserves justice to the nth degree. No doubt about it.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Clay Peterson with me, Guns of the 701-820 here at KFYR. The Charlie Kirk thing, the FBI due to speak at about 8:30, and if they do, or if it's shortly thereafter, we'll get that for you here on KFYR 5.
Plug right in, that's fine, and then we can break it down. But what I wonder about, Todd, is I watched some of these videos the FBI has been releasing. This guy, he looks like your average college student, no doubt about it, and then he comes across the roof. I've even seen pictures now that people have taken that from the other view behind where Charlie Kirk was sitting. And you can see this spot up there. And I imagine that was him, the shooter. And one thing I want to clear up with everybody, this was never going to be somebody that had skills the way it was playing out. And these experts, so-called, that have been everywhere saying, they took match-grade bullets and a very customized rifle and a very skilled shooter. No. I've even heard reports that might have even just been an old Mauser action, bolt action, 30-06. I don't know for that for sure, but that's been circulating. But I can tell you this, any deer hunter that has any kind of experience could have made that shot. And whether it was precise in the neck, I don't know that either. The trajectory fits, but I can tell you this, anybody could have made that shot, and the human body and that perspective on top, honestly, he could have been off a little bit. It could have been a lucky shot. Bad for us, not really lucky. I guess that's a bad choice of wording. But I'm telling you right now, a lot of people could have made that. So that means anybody could have made that, in all honesty. With any kind of familiarity with a firearm, they could have done it. Does that mean that we need gun control? No, absolutely not. Nothing that they could have done would have stopped this, unless they had really stringent security going in that facility, which does not sound like that is what happened.
I got to admit, if you've watched any of Charlie Kirk's, discussions with the various college kids, those things get pretty charged up. Now he's a kind guy, but the tensions, especially on the the other end of the microphone, get a little high. And there's this part of me that thinks, well, I would have ratcheted security up far more. I realize he didn't want to have college kids scared away by a bunch of people and guns and blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, boy, a more secure environment somehow would have been smart, because doing this is as he would do, sadly, and I'm not saying deservedly, but sadly, would just be asking for that maniac to bring the gun and do what was done. And again, I'm not saying he deserved it, had it coming, none of that. Absolutely none of that. But if you're going to be in that much of a charged up setting each time, sooner or later somebody's going to snap.
Well, Charlie Kirk himself you can find tons of interviews with him and I watch the show quite often because I enjoyed it. Even though he's quite a bit younger than I am, I wasn't his demographic he was seeking, but I think he spread over to everybody who believes in this country and freedom, Constitution, and the Bible.
Yeah, he goes beyond demographics.
Absolutely. And he said it many times that, how many times? He said, he goes, I go into these places and it's always a risk. But he basically made a comment how, in a nutshell, without giving the actual quote, he felt that he'd lived a good life, he'd accomplished a lot, and that if that was God's will, he was okay with it. I mean, that ain't how he said it, but that is exactly the message he was giving.
Like we talked about earlier, God called him home, and it makes us a little uncomfortable, especially those of us who actually saw the thing happen. Oh my God! And by the way, speaking of that, it was very graphic video. I'm glad it was documented. I'm glad we know definitively what happened.
Yeah, no, that's true. We know this one. We absolutely know it. I was afraid this could turn into, I wish people would just shut their traps on social media of things they don't know, because...
Good luck on that one, by the way. Let me know how that works out for you.
Yeah, that genie's out of the bottle. And then, I heard a guy this morning talking about, he goes, well, it's a different time than, say, when Martin Luther King or JFK or any of these guys were done and the conspiracies that floated around it. But he goes, we have algorithms now and everything, something they didn't have back then. And it's feeding people information based on the things they like, the things they follow. And it's giving really a lot of false, and I hate that word, disinformation or false information, but it really was. It was generating things. And then they're in echo chambers. I tell you, I did not follow the social media stuff on this because I don't need to. And
speaking of the misinformation stuff, the pro athletes who have one by one been pictured on Facebook with a shot of the family and, hey, he's going to pay for all their college tuition and all this stuff. One by one, Justin Jefferson was one of them. Sorry, they're hoaxes. They'd be beautiful stories. They're hoaxes. Don't fall for hoaxes. Stop it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's all over. I think people should take a break from. I'm not on there much. I try not to go on there much. The only reason I even maintain my one profile so that we can run our GAT701 profile.
I was going to say you can't have that show and not do any social. But I'm with you though. I'm headed to be with my mother here for a few days after I get off the air today, and I'll probably lay off it quite a bit. But if I didn't have this job, this profession, I might be off it altogether. But if you're gonna be on it, take everything with a grain of salt. And how about finding proof? You see a story, okay, can you verify it with one other source? Because that's what journalism used to be. And I think that when you're reading social media stuff, I think you got to not just take the first thing you see and run with it.
Right. And it's like when this first happened, of course, before I saw a video, I didn't know. I had hope. I'm sure just as I did, many others were praying that he'd survive this. And when I was watching the feed, now I watched the feed on it from, like I said, Real America's Voice, because they he worked there, right? His show was on there. In fact, his radio show, I believe, was broadcasted in North Dakota. So a lot of people are familiar with Charlie Kirk. But these people were on there talking. All of a sudden, you could see the look in their eye as they all looked at their phones, because they got a text, I'm sure, that basically confirmed what we all thought was going to be the outcome after seeing the video, that he had been murdered and killed and was dead. And I was kind of conveying that to some people I knew, and they, oh no, so-and-so says, and Twitter says, and I'm like, no, trust me, it's true. I just watched it. I watched it from people that knew it, and it was all four of them, and it was part of where he worked. So it came from their network supervisor letting them know the outcome.
By the way, looking through the radio affiliate list, I do not see anything in the Dakotas. There's a station. Ironically, I used to work at the station in Minneapolis, 1570.
Okay.
But it was on Salem Radio Network, so it is one of those things that you could get on an app anyway. So
there you go.
if you're on an app, guess what? You're worldwide at this point. So
very much so, just like iHeart. I mean, I can pick up.
Absolutely.
KFYR's got a huge range. It really does. I've been down by Sioux Falls and the Nebraska border and still picking you guys up on my radio.
Oh, yeah.
But if you got the app, yeah, anywhere you want to go, you just Bluetooth it to your phone and boom, or to your radio, you're good to go. I mean, I don't think that anymore that anything's local anymore.
And now the punchline. You're still using Bluetooth? I'm on CarPlay, but whatever.
Oh, never heard of CarPlay. Of course, I live out here under a rock.
Well, yeah, you've got that 1960, what the heck year pickup that is?
1962, runs like a top, just not fast. It's the only way I won't get a speeding ticket. 62 to 65 mile an hour.
One way to keep you from getting the ticket. 8:30 and KFYR FBI still not up on stage yet. If they do, we'll get on it for you. More coming up with Clay Peterson Guns in the 701. Stand by.
550. Friday edition, Clay and Buck. It's been a very, very tough week. We will update you with the absolute latest on the Charlie Kirk assassination and the pursuit of his killers and the attempt to bring them to justice. Plus, Buck.
We'll bring you a look ahead at how a lot of our conservative brothers and sisters in the media are planning to continue the discussion and debate that Charlie stood for. That and more on Clay and Buck.
This morning at 11 on KFYR.
The Dakota Farm and Ranch Report presented by Proceed. Today we'll talk about Congressman Julie Fedorchak as she welcomes some North Dakota visitors to Washington this week, and crop producers invited to a one-day workshop at NDSU's Carrington Research Extension Center. We'll tell you details coming up on the Dakota Farm and Ranch Report.
Hi, I'm Jack Pipe.
Imagine being on a vacation for a very long time. Now imagine saving money nightly while you do it. Sounds pretty great, right? With Vrbo's long stay discounts, you can stay longer and save more. Our customers save an average of 10% when they book select properties for a week or longer. Just in case you needed another reason to extend that vacation, book the perfect summer getaway today with Vrbo Private Vacation Rentals. Your future self will thank you later.
It's football season at Metropolitan Ford, and it's time to save some money. Get the all-new 2025 Bronco Sport or 2025 Explorer for less than $400 a month with approved credit, plus tax, title, license, and dealer fees with approved credit. 10,500 miles a year, 25 cents a mile over. Not all customers qualify. Offers on select in-stock units. Residency restrictions may apply. See dealer for details. Expires September 30th, 2025.
KFYR. Presented by Proceed. Welcome to the Dakota Farm and Ranch Report. Congresswoman Julie Fedorchak welcomed 24 North Dakota ag producers to Washington, D.C. this week as part of the North Dakota Farmers Union annual capital visit. The group discussed market challenges, trade concerns, and opportunities to strengthen agriculture. Fedorchak emphasized support for farmers facing pressure from trade disruptions, severe weather, especially soybean growers struggling with export contracts and storage. She outlined a three-part strategy: trade enforcement with diversification, expanding domestic markets, and supplemental support. Key initiatives included boosting biofuels, challenging Brazil's trade practices, completing the Farm Bill, and strengthening farm and family policies. Crop producers are invited to a one-day workshop at NDSU's Carrington Research Extension Center coming up Tuesday, October 1st, focusing on using liquid livestock manure as fertilizer. This event runs from 8:30 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon Central Time. Features experts from North Dakota, Minnesota, Ohio, and Wisconsin. Topics include manure regulations, nutrient analysis, and comparisons between commercial fertilizer, solid, and liquid manure. Research on in-season application of liquid swine manure will be highlighted, along with the safety protocols for manure spills. Lunch provided by the North American Manure Expo Board. Pre-registration is required at ndsu.ag/liquidmanure25. That is a look at the Dakota Farm and Ranch Report presented by Proceed. I'm Shannon
KFYR, your ag authority.
America's #1 app for radio is iHeart. Live radio, trusted DJs, breaking news, live play-by-play, plus the station you're listening to right now, anytime, anywhere. Join the millions who already have it. Open the free iHeart Radio app today. The #1 app for radio.
Kicking off your Friday morning with rush hour traffic and weekend planning ahead, it could feel like you'll drive halfway across Minnesota. For Fuel Rewards members at Shell, that running around translates into savings at the pump. Earn rewards on fuel, snacks, dining out, and more. Earn 10 cents per gallon off when you reach platinum status, with opportunities to stack rewards for even more savings. Visit fuelrewards.com/join25 and sign up today. At participating merchants and Shell locations, limit 20 gallons. Restrictions apply. Visit fuelrewards.com for more information.
What does Zyn really give you? Not just smoke-free nicotine satisfaction, but also real freedom to do more of what you love, when and where you want to do it. Why bring Zyn along for the ride? Because America's #1 nicotine pouch opens up all the possibilities of right now. With Zyn, you don't just find freedom, you keep finding it. Find your Zyn. Learn more at Zyn.com. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Isopure protein helps you focus on more of what matters, like feeling your best every day. With great tasting nutrition that's high protein and low carb, it's never been simpler. Get 25 grams of ultra-filtered protein and 0 carbs in every scoop of Isopure vanilla or unflavored. Get 20 grams of refreshing fruit-flavored protein with Isopure Tropical Punch Clear. Or get 15 grams of lightly flavored protein with new Isopure Protein Water, available at Costco. Isopure, more of what matters. Tap now to shop.
Empathy is everything for reducing your teen's risk of substance use. So before you talk about drugs, talk to them about how they're doing. Learn how to start a conversation at cdc.gov/freemind/parents.
This is Bo Yang from Las Culturistas.
And I'm Matt Rogers, also a host of Las Culturistas.
Big news to share. Do you know what the perfect thing to bring to any party is?
Oh, and we talked about this. I'm a person, not a thing.
Oh, I didn't mean you. I meant Casamigos.
Okay, chic. And honestly, the only other correct answer.
Right? There's nothing like having Casamigos at a party with your friends.
That makes sense, seeing as Casamigos' whole vibe is friendship. It's literally in the name.
Well, the vibe is working because everyone loves it. It's good with anything. Watermelon juice.
Bloody Mary mix.
Coconut.
Grapefruit.
Diet freaking cola, for crying out loud.
The deepest friendships have been forged over Casamigos margaritas.
A Casamigos margarita? That's a sleigh.
Ah, Casamigos. Anything is a sleigh.
Because anything goes with my Casamigos.
That is so true.
You can thank me later. Please drink responsibly. Imported by Casamigos Spirits Company, White Plains, New York. Casamigos Tequila, 40% alcohol by volume.
For 70 years, we've been known as the Humane Society of the United States. But as the challenges animals face have grown, so have we. We are now called Humane World for Animals. And with you on our side, we are going to end animal cruelty around the globe. Join us. Humane World for Animals. The end of animal cruelty.
When it comes to delivering flowers for life's special occasions, trust the name that's been setting the standard.
Located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Give them a call at 701-258-6308.
The team of mechanics at Lauer Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with Lauer, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. Lauer Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308.
701-258-6308.
Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Their team of 40 professionals work tirelessly to comb the insurance marketplace and match you with the best company at the best price. That's why you'll hear from the Canopy Group. They have more to offer. For your insurance needs, call 800-967-3389 or visit thecanopygroup.com, thecanopygroup.com.
Here's your AccuWeather forecast. Today will be mostly sunny, very warm and humid with a late afternoon thunderstorm possible, high of 86. Tonight, expect mild temperatures with a chance of thunderstorms. Cloudy early, then partly cloudy. Watch for flash flooding and damaging winds, low of 63. Tomorrow will be cloudy, not as warm, but still humid with drenching thunderstorms in the afternoon, high of 74. Sunday brings considerable cloudiness, humidity, and a few showers with a thunderstorm. High of 74. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
8:38:67 in Bismarck. FBI is still due to speak, and Utah will break in with it for you. 8:38, more with Clay and Guns in the 701 next.
America's #1 app for radio is iHeart. Live radio, trusted DJs, breaking news, live play-by-play, plus the station you're listening to right now, anytime, anywhere. Join the millions who already have it. Open the free iHeart Radio app today. The #1 app for radio.
It's Morgan Wood from the Black Information Network urging you to consider your source. Does your opinion come from truth or what you're being fed? Imagine being a black student activist in America with Israeli and Arab heritage. That's Tamer Massoudin. He's being told his reality is a lie, but he tirelessly shows up and speaks out in the unending fight against propaganda that attempts to erase him and his story. Don't allow it to close your mind. Follow at T Massoudin on Instagram because truth matters.
Buying, selling, or just living in a home? You can trust Standard Water to fix your radon or mold problems. Standard Water is the radon and mold expert since 1977. Free estimates start at standardwater.com. Standardwater.com. Standard Water for mold and radon.
Recently visited Steve's Appliances and their beautiful 5,000 square foot showroom in Mounds View. What a terrific, kind, and honest covenant of people they have working there. The standalone appliance store has been serving Minnesota since 1956 and doesn't have to answer to transactional big bosses located in who knows where, USA. Steve serves the entire Twin Cities metro, offering top brands like Thermador, Genair, and Monogram. Fast delivery, free recycling, and guaranteed low prices. It's stevesappliances.com.
When you bundle renters and auto with Progressive, you can save while protecting your most valuable possessions, like your priceless vinyl collection. Sure, you sleep on a futon because the money most people would have spent on a bed you spent on more records. But forget the fact that you can stream just about any song ever created for a few dollars a month. No, you need to listen to music in the most difficult way possible. So go ahead and get Progressive so you can save while protecting the things that matter to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
For a rewarding career, join Twin City Framers, the industry leader in the largest wood frame projects. Twin City Framers believes good work deserves good pay. That's why a lead framer makes $38.75 per hour, with profit sharing and scheduled reviews with raises, plus full insurance, 401k, paid time off, training, a great work environment, and more. At Twin City Framers, enjoy constant, safe work and get home in time for dinner. Apply at twincityframers.com now. That's twincityframers.com.
You got everything for your next project when you shop at Menards. Update your home's exterior with new gutters. They're essential for controlling rainwater runoff. White, black, and brown aluminum gutters are in stock and ready to take home today. Aluminum gutters are on sale now in-store and on Menards.com. Plus, check out the weekly flyer to view all our great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
If you're thinking about having an auction, think of Pfeiffer's First. We cover North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. For all of your land and machinery needs, call Jim Sabby, 701-523-6283.
ABC Seamless. Better products, better installation, and a better warranty.
This is Jill Weiss of the God's Child Project. We are thrilled to invite you to hear Robbie Middleton, our social worker from Guatemala, speak in North Dakota the week of September 14th. Hear powerful stories of hope, change, and opportunity made possible through sponsorships. Sunday the 14th in Washburn at First Lutheran Church at 1 p.m. Monday the 15th in Dickinson at the Eagles Club for dinner from 6 to 9 p.m. And Thursday the 18th at the Mandan Eagles Club for dinner from 5 to 8 p.m. For more information, call 255-7956.
America's #1 app for radio is iHeart. Live radio, trusted DJs, breaking news, live play-by-play, plus the station you're listening to right now, anytime, anywhere. Join the millions who already have it. Open the free iHeartRadio app today. The #1 app for radio.
843 KFYR Guns in the 701. Been looking forward to this conversation with Clay for the past few days. Unfortunately, the sad circumstance of putting this conversation out there. By the way, FBI is still yet to hit the podium in Orem, Utah, but hopefully in the next few minutes, and we'll get it for you here on KFYR as soon as that happens. But
I figured that was going to happen, Todd. They never.
I know.
I know. It's like they didn't.
It's like COVID all over again. We're going to speak at 7, and then finally at 9:30 they start speaking. I mean, you just get used to that after a while, and it's like, yeah, okay, whatever.
One thing about the Charlie Kirk thing, and as tragic as it is, there is room here for celebration, and it is to make sure that we celebrate his life, we celebrate what he did, and that all of us, not just Turning Point, but everybody takes that torch and now picks it up and makes it bigger.
Amen.
Make that movement bigger. And that's what we got to remember. You keep his young family in their prayers, but they have a strong faith as well. They'll pull through this with God's word. It's just that simple. And yeah, I know that this is a little different show than most people are used to listening from me for sure. But
sorry, but this life got in the way this time, and I think it's, kind of like when Minneapolis happened at the Catholic school there. I mean, you have to deal with the events that happen as they happen. Otherwise, why are we talking about gun stuff anyway? Because that's going to be the #1 thing is going to be, okay, now the gun control crowd is going to come out. What's the counter to that? And that's kind of, where you come in, because let's face it, there's a crowd that does not realize that, one, you can't get all the guns away from everybody. You can't. Mathematically, it's not going to happen. The last person is going to kill you with a gun if you take their gun. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, and two, if you have properly trained people that have them at their ready, then the idiot who decides to come in and wants to take out 10, 20, 30 people gets neutralized before, either one of them works, I guess, before real damage can happen. And isn't that what you want?
Absolutely, that's what you want. That's why it's a sad society that we have to have armed people to defend us from horrible, evil people.
Well, if we didn't have horrible, evil people, we wouldn't have to worry about it. But guess what?
Right, they're there. And, and then not to go down a tangent, but sin created that. And we are sinful beings, and that's just the way that is. And so we have to deal with it. So we have to take that step and put our shield on and make sure that we're defending us. We're taking care. Leon talked about that on the show Wednesday, and love Leon Francis, by the way. And I got to put this plug in. Blackbeard Logic tonight on G&T701 because he does a great job, and that comes on at 6 p.m. Central.
We got to talk him into doing a few more of these on Friday mornings with me here.
Him and I have been talking about that. I think it's a great rotation to put Leon in there. So
absolutely.
Talking to him a little bit more on
amazing human being. He's a great man.
Awesome.
Great man.
And, he's our DEI hire. I keep telling him. I had to throw that in there. Leon, we love you.
Here's Token. Okay, stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
No, Leon.
Here, check this out. This just happened to glance at my email. Good morning. I would like to make 2 points. Out of respect for the family, I wish all videos would be taken down of that horrific shooting. At least they're putting the warning thing on before, but I agree. Second, I don't know that you can do it. Once it's on the internet, it's out. Somebody's always going to have it. But second, I wish there was a conservative radio station or TV station in Canada. I'm Canadian. And the rhetoric that's being spread, or should I say lies that are being spread, is horrible. KFYR's got listeners in Winnipeg. I know it because they respond. I know it. I get calls in the 204 area code from time to time. I know they're up there. And I know they've got nothing because they have the CBC and 680 CJOB, which is, a halfway decent news source. But when they get into opinion, it tends to be pretty left. Anyway, last night, our top TV news outlet brought in a so-called expert. What an absolute shame. I don't know what rock this piece of crap came out of, but it was disgusting. Absolute left lunacy. I wish I could get my family out of this cesspool called Canada. So every time I make, or I'm not the only one by any means, make the point of, hey, maybe Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Alberta wouldn't mind becoming 51st, 52nd, and 53rd states. There's some legitimacy to that because they are nowhere near the left that Quebec is and Toronto is.
I look at it this way, Todd. This is a growing movement. I've been following politics literally for over 40 years since I was in high school, really, and started to understand it. I'm telling you, we're out there, and there are more of us. There really is. There's more of us than there is them, to put it in that perspective. It's just we finally have a voice, because of people like Charlie Kirk, because of other news outlets. I think the internet completely destroyed mainstream media. I mean, really, we don't have to go there for our news source anymore. We can get what we want.
The 530 news, the network news, is obsolete. By the way, sources have identified the shooter as 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, a Utah resident.
Yep.
So more is coming out, and I think the FBI just wants to make sure that they have their I's dotted, T's crossed before they hit the podium.
Well, I think they do this on purpose as a precursor, kind of like an intro. They're releasing the name now. You might even see one other little. I've noticed they do that, and that's okay because otherwise, what's the first question going to be? They come out, they give their presser, and then they go open up for, what's the name? Well, now you know that.
Yeah. Who's that? Yeah. It's like we don't have to spend a whole bunch of time going, well, we've identified this. Okay, we know. Now let's get the nuts and bolts of who the heck this, was it a thing of a opposite political ideology? Or for all we know, this guy's even further right and is just somebody who just is wired wrong. I mean, we just don't know yet.
We don't know, but I can tell you if you're a numbers guy, statistically, this guy ain't on our side. I mean, I'm just making that assumption.
I can't imagine how they'd be, but
I mean, I'd put money on it that it's somebody from the other side. Now, not necessarily. Now, don't get me wrong. Not necessarily a Democrat, but definitely has an ideology that is contradictory to our Constitution, freedom, and our Christian values. I guarantee you that this guy has that ideology.
I'll give the mainstream left credit. They're not going to shoot him. Even, look how quick Gavin Newsom, who was on Charlie's show, came out very quickly denouncing it. The Obamas did. The Clintons did. I got to give credit where it's due. The noteworthy left was quick to come out and say, no, this was not right. I mean, there are plenty of people foolishly going on an owner of a local business is probably getting torched right now in Bismarck, and I'm not going to name him. I'm sure you've seen him, and you know. If you know, you know. If you don't,
to make 40 times.
And I don't expect everybody to be in agreement, but if you're gonna go out and say, well, thanks for taking out the trash and whatever, I'm sorry, but you're gonna get the wrath of society, because guess what? We can all vote with our wallets and, you know, with our foot traffic and not visit your business. And I know there are a few people that are going to say, oh, well, I agree with them, so I'm going to go. Okay, you're outnumbered here. Sorry.
If you want to look at the two sides, if you want to call that, our side never celebrates the murder of somebody for their beliefs. We just don't. I don't. You know, I mean, there's some vile people out there I can't stand from the left side of that aisle. I wish them no harm whatsoever, nor would I want to see it.
Well, that's just it.
That nobody would do that.
That's
I mean,
just
really,
it.
that's just wrong.
Oh,
and that's plain and simple.
Speaking of said business owner, oh, I bet you're a Republican was one of the comebacks. And all I can think is, do you know where you are and which way the vote has gone the last 3 decades? I don't know that I'd be... I don't know that I'd be doing that card. I just don't think I would.
And from what I understand, there's some kind of a food thing going on this weekend in Bismarck where they set up, and that's probably was not a smart thing to say.
Well, I was going to say, if they get traffic, it's only going to be because it's being handed to them on a silver platter anyway. So the real question's going to be, what's it going to be like next weekend? What's it going to be like come Monday, Tuesday morning? That's going to be the telltale, but...
The business can have a stance on things, okay? Our sponsors, they support freedom. They support the Constitution. Why wouldn't you support that? You're in America. If you don't like those fundamental things, leave. It's pretty easy. You can go anywhere. Pick your place. Leave. But if you are going in and saying, I condone the killing, no, that's wrong. And that should be wrong on all sides. Just to randomly kill somebody because you don't like what they said. That's not the American way. That is not our constitutional values, nor our Christian values.
No.
And we're going to condone that no matter what on our side. Plain and simple.
You know, I could carry this conversation for the next 2 hours, but then Michael Bell would get a little mad at me, so I better not.
Yeah, I should just stay on with Michael. Right? Unfortunately, in all this, I have to leave today, and I'm heading out to a funeral of a dear friend's son that he lost, so we want to keep them in our prayers. I don't really... They're like Charlie Kirk and have a strong faith, and they're going to get through this. But we'll be heading out there to celebrate that young man's life, and all I can say is please pray for that family.
Amen. Amen. Clay Peterson, Guns of the 701. We normally have a more festive talk about guns and stuff on Friday mornings, but sometimes the conversation necessitates a slightly different direction. This is one of those times for sure. Always a pleasure, Clay. Talk to you next Friday.
Yes. Thanks, Todd, and have safe travels on your
wish me luck in St. Paul, because last time I was there, I darn near got carjacked. Thank God for my dash cam. As this guy locked up his brakes, started walking back toward me, I pointed at my dash cam and went, "Gotcha!" And he got in his car and left.
Well, that's good, because I would have been breaking the law probably and showed him a Freedom Seed delivery system. So.
Well, it all worked out. I'll just leave it at that, I guess. All right, you have a great weekend. Take care.
You too, Todd.
8:56.